This week we've been discussing why Jesus' resurrection is good news for everyone. And today I'm actually really excited because we're going to kind of summarize the whole week, if I'm honest with you, by looking at one of my very favorite Bible passages. It's found in a book called Ephesians. Ephesians was originally written as a letter to a group of Christians. A man named Paul wrote this letter to a group of Christians because he wanted them to understand what it meant to be a Christian. And he summarizes it in a prayer that he writes for them near the beginning of the letter. In chapter 1, in sentences 18 and 19, this is the prayer that Paul writes for these Christians. He says, "I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened, in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you, the riches of his glorious inheritance in his holy people, and his incomparably great power for us who believe." It's a really beautiful and powerful prayer that Paul is praying for these Christians. And what he says to them is, I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened. He says, I want you to understand what it means to be a Christian, what it means to trust in Jesus. And so he sums this up for them in three things. The first thing Paul says is that he wants them to understand that being a Christian means that you have been given hope. He says, I want you to know the hope the hope to which you have been called, meaning the hope that we have in Jesus, that our future is secure. So first, Paul says, I want you to know that you've been given hope. The second thing he says is he wants us to understand that as Christians, we are dearly loved. Maybe you didn't catch that. I just want you to see this because it's really powerful. He says he wants us to understand the hope, and then he says he wants us to understand the riches of God's glorious inheritance in his holy people. An inheritance is something that has significance or worth or value, and it's left behind after someone dies. And what God is saying is that because Jesus died, the inheritance that God received is us. I know it's hard to imagine really, but we are the people that God looks at us and says, you're my inheritance. You are the thing of great value and worth and significance. And so Paul says he just is desperate for us to understand that what it means to be a Christian is that we've been given hope, we're dearly loved by God, and the third thing, and maybe the most exciting, I know you think I can't get any more excited, but the most exciting thing is that we've been given power. And did you notice what Paul says about that power? He says that we've been given God's incomparably great power, and it's the same power that raised Jesus from the dead. But then he goes on and he explains about this power. He says this power is not only the power that God used when he raised Jesus from the dead, but it's the power that has placed Jesus as ruler over all nations, over all authorities, over all powers, whether on earth or in the spiritual realm. He goes on and he says that everything, all of creation, all power has been placed under Jesus's feet. And that power is at work in us. And Paul says we need to understand that what it means to be a Christian, the reason why it's such good news that Jesus resurrected is the power that resurrected him is at work in me. There's a song that I quite really like, and it says, the resurrected King is resurrecting me. That the power that resurrected Jesus is bringing transformation and newness to my life. But it also means that power, it's not mine, it's God's power, but that power through Jesus working in me means that I can face any storm. It doesn't matter what comes at me, whether it's an internal struggle or whether it's an external struggle. I have the power through Jesus to face that head on, really, and to attack that challenge and to do so with confidence. And so Paul writes this prayer, and that's my prayer as well, that we would understand that what it means to be a Christian is to be reminded that we've been given a hope, that we're dearly loved, and that we've been given all the power we need to follow Jesus fully.
If you'd like to read more of this part of the Bible, then you can follow through the link in the description below. And if you'd like to discover more about the church, Christianity, or following Jesus, then please email us at the address below.